So we've just left Pimba campsite where we spent the night. It was quite pleasant, it was free, which helped, and we had a shower. Only cost $2. That was a bit strange. You put you put $1, two of them, into a little machine and it turned the shower on. But it was cheap, so not complaining. The campsite was quite loud because lots of freight trucks were going through the night because it was next to the Stuart Highway, the camp. But nonetheless, it was quite pleasant. We met a man who'd went to Roxby Downs, just up the road, who went to a free mining place where you can mine with your hands for free and keep what you find. And he found some large bits of opal about the size of your hand. That was very cool to see. And now we're going through the true outback, and we're on our way to Coober, Pedy.
So we've just arrived in Coober, Pedy, and we are now at the Old Timers mine, and we're going to have a look around the opal mine.
So we made it into the mine, and the mine first opened in 1918, and the original owners made £50,000 in those days worth of opal, which would have made them millionaires back in 1918. This whole room that we can see was hand dug, and the shaft right above us up there goes 60 feet up. Which means that there was clearly a lot of opal found in this room, and it would have taken clearly a lot of effort to do it by hand.
So we've just come through the mines and we've come into an underground home. This is what the miners built to live in during their time in the mines, and it's now why a lot of the population in Coober, Pedy live underground to keep away from the heat.
So we've continued through the mine and we found the only underground post office in the world. So in Coober, Pedy, you'll see lots of these things. They're called blowers, and they're used for the opal mining. They are basically a giant vacuum, as you can see on the back of it, and it sucks the dirt from up to 30 metres underground for the mining, and throws it to the side. I don't know if you can see in the distance over there, but there's lots of mounds that look like giant molehills, and that was created by these blowers.
So we've just arrived at the Serbian Orthodox Church. It's a completely underground church, which is pretty cool because I've never been to one of those before.
So we come across the big winch. It was built by a person called Klaus Wieries in the 1970s, and the story goes for the reason that he built it was to represent the town. He spent years and years searching for opal and found nothing, and built an extra extension in his underground home, and in the process of this he found a huge opal deposit, which was worth over $3 million at the time. So walking back from the winch, we came across a motel, the Comfort Inn, just over there, and it's underground, it's made completely of tyres. Roadtrip, we're finding all the big things of Australia, and we found the big miner, and he's huge. So just outside the town of Coober, Pedy, you can see that it's clearly a very active mining and quarry town still, and I think that's obviously the reason that it's still very popular for tourists and people living here. And driving an hour from the camp, we've made it to Rock, and it's pretty amazing to see the sunrise and the main part of the trip. So we've just been to Uluru, and now we're at the Valley of the Winds at the Old Glass Mountain, which is also known as the Many Heads Mountain. So we're going to go for one of the walks. I think it's a 3k walk. Started to get warm, and we need to get a move on because the track shuts at 11 due to the heat. So we finished the Valley of the Winds and finished doing the walk. We went a bit further than planned and got some nice views. And now we are heading back to the camp that we were at yesterday, that we stopped at briefly before we went to Curtin Springs. We were planning to go to Kings Canyon, but due to the early wake-up call, I think we're both a bit too tired to do the 3-hour drive there and back, which would be 6 hours and I think about 500k. So we're going to go for a chill day and put up the tent at the camping spot, and then we're going to head off to Alice Springs in the morning. So we finished setting up our tent and we've finished dinner, so we can now watch a movie on the iPad. We've been sleeping in the pop-up tent that my mum left behind because the ground's been too hard to put the pegs in, and even now we're still having to use rocks to hold down the tent. But we've set up in front of a pretty stunning view, really. It's very picturesque. So where we were staying, we saw an Aborigine family cooking a kangaroo in a traditional fire pit where they put it under the ground, and then a lady offered for us to buy some Aborigine art. So we've got to the campsite. It's a Peterman free campsite. We've made dinner, which is pasta, tuna, sweet corn. I've put some tomato sauce in mine, but Katie hasn't opted for that choice. We've escaped to the car because it's 36 degrees and it's 5:30, and we were getting attacked by swarms of flies trying to go into our food and into our faces. Last night, something I forgot to say earlier was that at 1:30 we woke up to about 30 mosquitoes in our tent and lots of bites because we left the door open because we were using the pop-up tent, which has poor ventilation. So for about 20 minutes we had to try and squash them to get rid of them. We'll keep going. So
as you can see, we've had a change of plan. We were at the Peterman free campground, and we're now camping in the car an hour and 20 minutes away from where we were. The people came who were Aboriginal, and they started shouting at us, so we got quite intimidated and scared, so we left there and drove to a place called Arunda, which we thought was a motel, but it turns out they were shut. So we're now 20 minutes on from there, camping in the car.
So this is where we ended up staying last night. Obviously we couldn't see it and you couldn't see it because it was pitch black and 10 o'clock at night. Quite nice there, but still very annoying that we had to pack up the tent and things after we'd put it together. So we've just left the site that we spent the night at in the car, and now we're on the way to Alice Springs. We're about an hour and a half away.
So we've just got to the Henbury meteorites. They're about 5,000 years old, with the biggest one being 180 metres wide, which is pretty cool to see.
So we've made it to Alice Springs, and we've just stopped off at the Botanical Gardens to grab a drink and have a look around, and then later I think we're going to go and look at the National Vehicle Museum, and that's all we have planned for the day so far. First raining of our trip. Hopefully it's not too heavy, and hopefully it doesn't last too long because we're going to put up our tent in about 20 minutes. So yeah, hopefully it stops. So we've come to the megafauna museum in Alice Springs. It's a free museum and it's really interesting, and because I love dinosaurs, I'm having a really good time. Reptile Centre in Alice Springs, where we're going to get to hold some reptiles and learn all about them.
He does not care. You are so lazy. I think he's mad at me because I didn't just give it to him.
What's the reasoning for them shedding? Why do they shed?
So they can grow.
Is that they shed?
Yeah, that's why. And then like when they get to fully grown, they'll shed like once every 6 to 12 months. It just depends on how much they're eating really, because they're still going to grow sideways.
So we just finished at the Reptile Centre where I got told of the dragon and an olive python, and now we've come to the Natural History Museum of Central Australia. So we've just come outside of Alice Springs to the grave of Flynn, who was the founder of the Flying Doctors Service, which brought a lot of medical care to Central Australia. So we've come to the McDonnell Ranges today and we visited Simpson Gap. Now we're heading up Cassia Hill. So the area around us was covered by sea 900 million years ago, and the landmass itself is one of the oldest in Australia, being 1,600 million years old, so it's pretty impressive.